Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch and Track podcast presented by the To Grunge Show. I'm DeLeo.
And I am Grimm, and today we are going to discuss an old favorite, Tiny Music, songs from the Vatican gift shop by Stone Temple Pilots.
STP, baby. And yes, as we discussed on our Monday episode, if you have not seen that, they came out with a new super deluxe version. Comes with one vinyl, 3 CDs. Check out that episode. But also, it marks the 25th anniversary.
25th. And I wish I still had my CD to hold up. Or even just the disc.
Yeah, I wonder how scratched that is.
Yeah, and I wonder if the scratch is what I would pick. We can only find out.
Oh, man. Damn, I can't wait.
So, if you're not already a subscriber and you don't already like us, maybe go ahead and give us a quick
like, subscribe, and comment below.
And, you know, we'll see if the scratch matches over time.
Exactly. So,
I kind of think it will.
It might. We could go to OT on this one, maybe.
I think it's possible.
So we also did an episode on Purple when we first started our show. I think it was one of the first 10 episodes we did. So there's no video yet.
And we hadn't really even found our groove yet. You know, we were still kind of feeling it out. Like we knew our groove is fine, but just the groove of the show and how we, you know, kind of navigate all that. So
yeah, we should do an episode how Dude and Grimm got their groove back.
Dude, I want to, because the Dude and Grimm show prior to this format does have a history that is worth knowing. So stay tuned for that.
Exactly. All right, so on to Tiny Music here, released March 26, 1996. Yes, we are all old now. Produced by one of our favorites and one of the, you know, Brendan O'Brien. I feel like he's a producer that doesn't get talked about enough, or maybe get enough credit.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, seemed to be a protege of Rick Rubin, because he was
they worked
kind of
together on Blood Sugar Sex Magic. He was the engineer.
Yeah.
And I watched, I found a really good documentary that I think MTV did around the time of its review. You can find it on YouTube. It's about 6.5 minutes long, but it's pretty informative. And dude, the band bring up working with Brendan O'Brien specifically, and like how they really took his opinions, and they had like kind of a way of communicating sometimes without even talking, like he just had a feel for what the band wanted. And I think Robert and Dean DeLeo specifically were really talking about their relationship with him.
Sweet.
And what an awesome job. And they said he's a fantastic guitar player, great piano player.
Really?
Hell, dude, he played Hammond organ for Bob Dylan's Unplugged, MTV Unplugged.
No way, I did.
Yeah, Brendan O'Brien's playing Hammond organ on that.
Dude, that's badass.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and he had produced, I believe, Core and Purple as well. He's worked with Pearl Jam over the years, a bunch of other bands. I don't have the list in front of me, but he's one of the top producers out there, especially during this period. He was working with, you know, kind of the heavyweights in the area, you know, in this genre. Well, dude, it sounds pretty cool because I believe, I don't know much background around Core. I know with Purple, they recorded some songs in like a house. I think they got out of the studio for Purple, but this one, dude, they recorded on a ranch, is what it says in Santa Ynez, California. Is that right?
Yeah. And dude, I saw another interview on YouTube, which is like the 3 surviving members are talking about it now, but it's them now talking about it in the past. Sweet. And it was about 5 minutes. And one thing that was really interesting, was that they said they utilized almost every room in the house for different things. I want to say that, and you can see this in the video for Trippin' on a Hole, where he's in a cedar closet and he has his shirt off, and he was like, it seemed like a great idea at the time, but it must have been 110 degrees up there. And he's like, I was trying to get through it as quick as I could. And the other thing that's interesting is they wanted a completely dry drum sound. Like no reverb or anything for Big Bang Baby. So they recorded Big Bang Baby on the front lawn.
Dude, that's sweet.
Or not the whole band, but Eric Kretz was set up out on the front lawn doing the drums. And they showed video of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I have seen video of that, because I have the, what is it? It's the, years ago, they came out with, I think it was like a Stone Temple Pilots like it was their greatest hits. And on the cover, it's like this shirtless woman in like a field of sunflowers or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But also includes a DVD on it with tons of like the music videos, tons of live tracks and stuff like that. But I believe like the first track, or there's like this sort of comprehensive music video of one of their songs, I believe. And they do have some footage like around the house, and it does show Eric Kretz on
the front lawn. That's
playing. So he did it for that song. Okay.
And it's funny because in the one that they really went into that in more detail is the one where the DeLeo brothers and Eric Kretz are talking about it like in nowadays. Yeah. And they said that when he was doing it, there was only like 2 hours between when they started doing it and to when the sprinklers were going to come on. And they were like, so we really had to get through that. And he was like, in retrospect, I don't know why the hell we didn't just turn the sprinklers off. But,
I don't know if those dudes could have figured it out.
Yeah. I would think, you'd hope. But maybe not. Because, dude, apparently this house was a 60,000 square foot house.
Really? Oh,
dude, they said the foyer of the house, which they used for something in the recording. Yeah. They said the foyer in the house was almost like a fucking high school basketball, gym.
That's crazy. Well, it's funny you say 60,000 because the note I have here says 25,000. Either way, dude. I mean, a 25,000 foot square house would be insane.
It's nuts. Yeah, like, that's just what they said in the video. So I have not consulted the owners yet to verify the square.
If anybody out there knows, please let us know. If someone else
might be on
Zillow,
I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, Airbnb that shit, right?
But one thing, that is interesting, and I guess I felt like even with Purple, they were moving away from like their initial sound that was super grungy. But people cited this album even more of a departure from that initial kind of real grungy sound.
Definitely. I mean, I think one of the things is I noticed the biggest thing that I sort of noticed is the way Scott Weiland sings on this album. If you compare the way he sings on this album versus how he sings on Core, with this Core, he's like real, just kind of deep. And,
kind of like that.
Yeah. He's got that
seems
here.
More honest.
This is more just scratchy and punky, and it's got like, he's not trying to sing almost like pleasant or good in any way.
Yeah, just like real down to earth and honest. And you can see where the scratchiness comes from because as we talk about maybe some of the videos, I really enjoy the video for Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart the most because it kind of shows them just like mainly recording in and around this house and then like kind of doing things together, which they did because apparently they had taken a little bit of a hiatus, and this was like a chance for them to like reconnect as dudes together and just kind of hang out in this place. And I think they said the fact that they were living there and they could just goof around, but then, it was really good for them.
Probably monitor Scott a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we want to kind of segue into that a little bit. Basically, Scott Weiland was arrested for heroin and cocaine possession, and he was sentenced to 1 year probation.
Speedballs, bro. Speedballs.
And so they took a little hiatus. Scott Weiland went and he formed his own little band called the Magnificent Bastards, and then and recorded. I guess I didn't know this. They recorded some songs for the Tank Girl soundtrack and also a John Lennon tribute album, which is kind of trippy. And then the remaining STP members started a band called Talk Show with, how do you say, Dave Coots? Is that right?
Coots.
I'm not.
And I would be interested. Him, so. I'm not familiar. I didn't even know about that. But I mean, of course, at that time, I was 15, and like the internet wasn't what it is now. So it was just harder to get some of this information then than I feel like
AOL
it is now.
Like 4.5.
Yeah. Chat rooms.
Dial-up. Yeah.
Fucking social studies. So
that's a dark place.
Yeah. So, I didn't know about that, but honestly, to watching this interview again, when the DeLeo brothers were talking about this, they said they had like 30 songs, and they just listed them all out and basically just wrote next to each one who they think should sing it. Yeah,
Dave. Yeah, I thought it was funny because Dean even said, he was like, it was really weird because he was like, in all reality, Big Bang Baby could have been a talk show song, and everybody loves my car. Not familiar with that. It could have been on Tiny Music. So that is really interesting that they kind of just chose them that way. And I don't know, maybe I'll check out some some talk show.
I would like to, because dude, I think was Kretz in talk show too? Is it?
It sounds like it. They just kind of said the other members.
Said the rest of the band, so I would assume. But dude, I mean, in no discredit to what Scott Weiland brought to the band, because even they said in that interview I watched, they said that there was just a unique quality that he brought to the table, and almost from not knowing music as well as they did, because dude, the DeLeo brothers are just. They're both just monsters, savants, dude. Man. They're amazing. I mean,
they are. They're really, really talented. Yeah, well, I was surprised too. Even kind of when I was listening to this album again, Dean DeLeo gets a lot of credit for writing the songs. I did not realize that. I thought it was mostly Robert writing them, and then Scott coming up with the lyrics and stuff. But I was really surprised by that.
And it's weird, because as you look at like a rock throughout, whatever time, and there's people who are always talked about as guitarists, but dude, do not think Dean DeLeo gets enough credit.
Oh, totally
just
agree.
An excellent guitar player, and not even so much that he's so good, but he just comes up with the right parts, and dude, the different guitar sounds. He really like explores the whole palette of how you can make it sound, dude. And dude, Robert DeLeo is, I would, if I was going to name like who I think the best bass players in rock music are, it would be like a tie between him and McCartney.
Wow. Dude, that's
because McCartney has a really interesting way of writing a bass line, but dude, some of Robert DeLeo's bass lines are just, they're
pretty badass.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Amazing dude.
Definitely the best one in the 90s, in that era of rock. No one can touch him. Nobody can touch him.
Dude, that's sweet. That is saying a lot, because there were some good
I guess Flea's really good too, but different styles. Stylistically they're just so different, but
I got it.
Anyways.
That makes sense. Anyways. Well,
I digress.
don't know. Do you want to get into the tracks here, Mr. Grimm?
Yeah, I do real quick want to talk about the cover art a little bit, because the cover art always kind of struck me. Honest to God, I always thought it was a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even, the name of the album is a little weird. Like, it's just it's just weird. The album itself is actually pretty weird. But
I know.
Can talk about,
it's funny because you have this kind of palette of like blue, right? Because of the water, and then the lyric sheet is blue, but then the back of it is weird. It looks like some sort of strange altar with a bunch of religious stuff by it.
Right.
But I love they have those two like sprays up in the top, and one says "evil be gone" and one is a curse removing spray, which I think is really funny. And it kind of goes with the whole aesthetic of like, like if there was such, I'm sure there is, thing as the Vatican gift shop, like that's the kind of shit they would have there.
Yeah, well, if there's not, I'm sure there's plenty of street peddlers.
Oh yeah. But anyways, I just the cover was, and I remember thinking that when I bought it as a kid, that I just thought the cover was kind of weird, but the album is great.
Right. No, I'm with you, man. All right, dude, let's get into the tracks here.
Yeah.
So start with number 1. Might as well just press play, right? Which is a very cool intro track.
One of my favorites.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You just looked a little lost.
Well, no, because as I'm looking, and, admittedly, we use Wikipedia for a lot of this stuff, especially if we're just going to scroll through the tracks. But in the wiki entry, it says 121, which is what we would know as listening to the album, but it says 427 on the LP. You see that?
Interesting. No, interesting. That is, I'm not looking at the wiki right now.
And see, that's what I'm wondering. I wonder if you just buy the LP then, if it is that. Like, not the super amazing, totally amazing, excellent Discovery version.
Huh. Well, that's the thing in the, we were just talking about it on Monday's episode. one of the tracks on disc 2 where they have the alternate versions and demos is apparently the full length version of Press Play. And if you listen to it, that was one of my things, because I was like, man, I love it. It's kind of chill and groovy and everything. Like
I would listen to that for
it's 4.5 minutes.
Easy.
And I was just curious though, and that was one of the questions before I found that out, and I was doing my research earlier today. I was like, this has got to be part of a bigger track. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like it's just like a snippet in a portion, which is really cool. So
I would imagine they just kind of played around. And one thing I think that I didn't know until reading this is Dean and Robert DeLeo switched instruments on this track.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dean is playing bass on this and Robert is playing guitar, and Mr. Brendan O'Brien is playing the Rhodes piano, which sounds absolutely gorgeous on it.
Oh, this is cool.
The Rhodes electric piano.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love it when in the thing they list it says that he plays piano on this song, and I'm like, yeah, okay, let's be a little more specific here. I don't want to split hairs here, dude, but I'm sorry. There's a difference between an acoustic piano and a Rhodes. I mean, you could just feel it. Anyways.
Yeah, you're right. No, I just pulled this up and it says, 427 on the LP. Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, I wonder if they decided
the week after
if they decided to put the whole thing on there.
I want to buy it now just for that.
Just for that. Well, if you're on Spotify or Apple, you can listen to it too. You don't need to buy it. You need to pay $90 because the special edition of the audio is going to be on there. So.
Oh no, I know that, but I meant even just I wonder if just on the regular LP it just is like that, because it doesn't say anything about you know. Yeah. Anyways,
that would be pretty cool. So yeah, this is it's kind of interesting because I feel like this is a little bit of a tease because it is such a short little song in the sound. But dude, it sounds like almost nothing else on the album. And then you just jump into the next track, which is Pops Love Suicide, which you go from this like chill kind of sound to basically just getting punched in the face. Right. I mean, dude, that song, it just really, really hits you hard. So it's a complete 180 from these tracks.
And I really, really love Pops Love Suicide. I think and even lyrically, it just kind of speaks of like the dark side of fame.
Sure.
And along with Tumble in the Rough, but I think that's even more specifically about his drug problems. But I think Pops Love Suicide has just an interesting look at the dark side of fame, and musically, it's just an awesome song.
Oh, it's really cool, man. Yeah, it's really cool. And this kind of, I mean, this is, if you're listening to this for the first time, you're like, wow, okay, this doesn't sound anything like Core, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like Core, and really nothing like Purple. Especially what he's doing with his vocals, and his vocals are very punky and scratchy on this album. Almost not and I don't mean this in a critical way, almost kind of like whiny sometimes. Like, so. But then we move on, dude. Tumble in the Rough, which is to me kind of just a great continuation from Pops Love Suicide, because I mean it has a similar sort of feel. Like I'd put them in the same family a little bit. It's got the grittiness to it.
Yeah.
I love how the guitar, just kind of comes, in the beginning, right? It's so cool, man. It's like sort of machine-like. It's cool.
It is. And it's funny too, because this one is credited to just Scott Weiland, even though I'm sure that like Dean and Robert had an influence on the rest of it musically, but they talk about this in the interview that I referenced. And they said that he was just learning how to play guitar, and he had those two chords that did.
Oh yeah.
And so he came to them and was like, "Dude, this is gonna be a song." And he just played those two chords over and over, and they were kind of like, "Yeah, sweet."
Yeah,
but they were also like, he just had such conviction about it, like, so we kind of went with it, and that's what it became. But at first you would have been like, that's great that you've learned two chords, but what else are you gonna do? But they made it.
Right. Yeah. It's like, we got to take this song somewhere. But dude, some of the lyrics, I mean, one of my favorite lyrics in this song is, "I don't want any plastic validation." Like, I just think that's pretty fucking cool. But also, I can't
I'm
live, I
looking
can't
for
sleep.
a new way to die.
Yeah. I'm looking for a new, I can booze, steal your shoes so I can move.
Yeah.
He's got some really interesting lyrics. Sometimes I don't understand all of them. But they're, the way he kind of plays with words sometimes, he's an interesting lyricist for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Well, now we go to Big Bang Baby, which I believe was the first single off the album. And, this is, it's hard to say. I don't know if this is my favorite STP song.
It's up there. It is really up there.
It's in my fave 5 for sure, but it could be even top 3. I love how the song really, it's very nasty in parts, but then it kind of seamlessly transitions into sort of these poppy parts. And I love when the group comes in, when they sing the harmonies, right? For free. Oh my gosh, it's so cool, man.
I know. And lyrically, again, it's kind of like exploring this darker underbelly of fame.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a real reoccurring theme. I mean, like Meat Plow But I get it. I mean, if you're just kind of regular guys in a rock band and all of a sudden you get catapulted into fame, that would probably be a pretty big topic to write about.
Absolutely. And especially, I mean, his troubles have been pretty well chronicled.
Yeah.
And, he definitely had lots of struggles, and he never really got over those struggles, unfortunately.
Well, and they talk a lot about the video, which I think is worth mentioning, because apparently they did this video for next to nothing.
If you watch the video,
I know.
You can tell.
But they said a couple things. Number one, they had never done a video where it was just them kind of just playing live like that.
That's true. Okay.
And then they also said that at that time there were videos with that were actually $1 million budget videos with helicopter shots and all this crazy shit. And they were we just wanted to do some. They said that they felt this whole album was stripped down, and they wanted to do that on video.
Yeah, I mean, if you have seen the video, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just them basically playing in a white room.
Yeah.
And then there's a TV, and
which
he's singing in the TV, and then
and then they smash it. I love that. Uh-huh.
And then when it gets into the nothing's for free part, it gets all they kind of, instead you would call it a green screen, they white screen it basically. Yeah. And it it gets all sort of psychedelic-y and everything. It's cool, man. The video always stood out to me. I remember the first time I saw it.
They basically edited it right there while they were filming it, because they talked about how they did the part with the hearts, where they're in the hearts. And they were just oh yeah, this would be cool, and which that's almost like a Brady Bunchy kind of thing, where I don't know. It is really cool though. I really enjoyed watching it again after X amount of years.
Well, then we have next track, third single off of the album, Lady Picture Show. They finally kind of turn it down a notch. I feel after we've had 3 songs in a row that kind of hit pretty hard. Now this is still, it's a slower rock song. I guess that's the way I would kind of characterize it. It still has, driving loud guitar to it, but definitely is much slower. He still sings with the grittiness, and I'm not 100% sure what the song is exactly about.
Yeah. I do like the way they shot the video.
Isn't it? I didn't rewatch it. Isn't it the black and white kind of?
It is, but they did a
old
really
film style.
Yeah, but it looks like some of the stuff they got was actually old film. Now, whether it was or not, I don't know, but it looks like that. And then the way they incorporate the band into it, I think they did a good job with that video. Cool. A really good job, and it's pretty unique. I can't say I've seen another one like it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that this was a single.
A single. Me too. I mean, it is very different because the other one, so Big Bang Baby was the first, then Trippin' on a Hole, and then Lady Picture Show. I'm not sure what other one I would have chosen. Maybe, I mean, I think they probably
Cage Tigers is good,
or even Tumble in the Rough or Pops Love Suicide. I mean,
Art School Girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I think they went with this one because I wouldn't say it's not the slowest on the album.
Maybe more accessible.
Yeah, probably. And all right, so let's move on to And So I Know. This is I like this song a lot. It's again, this album is very different, and all of a sudden you go into this real chill song. And dude, this song, it was on my remember I had that Rainy Day CD in college.
Dude, this would be on it.
Yeah, it's just dude, it feels like kind of like a rainy day. He definitely changes up his vocals in the way he sings it. Sings very sort of clear, crisp, and pleasantly, I guess is the way I'd say it. So it definitely changes the album up. And dude, just that jazz feel, all right?
Yeah, like, they've never, I don't think they'd ever done a song anything like this. And it's one of my favorite points on the album.
Yeah. No,
you know,
great,
it just, like, you think they toned it down with Lady Picture Show, and then this comes on, and it's really like a band you hadn't heard. And I think one of the woman who was narrating this documentary, this miniature documentary that I talked about on MTV, said that there were several songs where she goes, if you would play this for me, I wouldn't think it was the Stone Temple Pilots. And then and their response was, that's exactly what we want. You know,
that's cool. Oh man, that's great. I really like that. So then we move on to Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart. Now, I remember, Grimm, knowing about this, and then I forgot, and then I just looked it up again to confirm. Dude, this is Eric Kretz' song. Yeah, remember? Yeah. He, I guess, wrote it or whatever, which makes sense, especially the way it starts off on the drums, right? Dude, this song is just pure rock, man. The energy of this song is so amazing, right?
And that's the thing. If you put Big Bang Baby, like you said, in the top 3 or top 5 for this group, this one is right up there, like contending with it.
Oh man,
it's one of those songs. Like if I haven't heard it in a while and I'm listening to the album, I will rewind this one 2 or 3. I say rewind, but I will go back to the beginning like 2 or 3 times for this song because it's so good, and the changes in it, what he does vocally.
Yeah, dude, there's so many different vocal things. It's almost like, gosh, what did I say? It was almost like, sort of like, there's 3 different vocal sounds that I noticed. Like he sings parts, almost like he's doing this sort of duet back and forth with himself, but there's like a different effect on one part of his vocals and a different on the other, and then he sings the other part. And when he sings that part, like we do it live, that's when we do the megaphone. You do the megaphone and stuff, and
and that's what I think is cool, because as I mentioned earlier about how I felt like Dean DeLeo does such a good job of like using the palette of what the guitar can do in such different ways. I feel equally that they do that with Scott Weiland's vocals, and this song, like you said, is a great example of that.
Yep. Well, it's just to me, it's like kind of the perfect rock song. It's what, like 2.5 minutes. It rocks. It has the energy. It has good transitions. You know, again, the variety of the vocals, just every instrument is really emphasized. It's definitely one of my favorites of theirs for sure.
Followed up by another one of my favorites of theirs,
Art School Girlfriend, 5 or 4 times.
Yeah, they call it Art School Girl, but it's Girlfriend.
I got a girlfriend.
I'm pretty sure this was just like a misprint.
Probably. It's again though, very different song for them. Like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things where it's like,
it's almost kind of like goofy and kitschy at first, and then when it comes in, it's like a real kick in the nuts. Yeah.
Right. Oh, dude, there's that sharp transition to these intense rock parts. And I told you 5 or 4 times. Like, it's like, whoa. I mean, the song's very bipolar, I feel.
It is. And I remember hearing it when I was younger, and I was kind of like not as sure about it, but you know, I liked it. And then I feel like you know, when we were in college, I went through like a kind of another phase of them, like listening to them again after a certain amount of years. And during that phase, this like immediately jumped out, and I was like, this is easily one of the best songs they've ever done. It's so good. Yeah. Cause
I remember when 4 came out, getting really into 4, and then that sparked.
And then you just go back through the catalog, right? I mean,
you're like, wow, okay. Yeah. I was like, oh man, I haven't listened to this album for years, and it's really freaking good, right? So, yeah. All right. Next song, Adhesive.
Kind of slows it down a little bit.
It does. Very reminiscent of And So I Know. You know, I would say I like And So I Know better, but this is, you know, he sings this one with a little more grittiness and stuff too. But it has like this melancholy feel. So.
Interestingly enough, in that mini doc, they asked the band members what their favorite song was on the album. This was Eric Kretz's favorite song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Does he say, or he just said?
No, I don't know. He just thought that Scott Weiland's vocals were just presented very well, and it was written in just a really interesting way. And I can't say that I disagree.
No, not at all.
And it does kind of, now that you mention it, it does kind of get into that jazzy part because they have some horns at the end.
All the horns. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's just a trumpet, but yeah.
That was a trumpet, but yeah. But again, it's one of those things that you wouldn't really expect to hear on a Stone Temple Pilots album.
Yeah, right? and the way it kind of plays in makes sense with that part of the song, but then that also wouldn't make sense if you were to do the adhesive love part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's totally interesting.
Yeah, man, dude, why are there not bands like this anymore? Like, this sucks.
I hear you.
You know. Anyways,
that
should be a whole episode.
Whole nother episode.
Yeah. All right, dude. Ride the Cliche. I just love the name of this song.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, oh yeah, just ride the Cliche. I
Yeah, and one thing that I've always thought with Stone Temple Pilots and Dean DeLeo is there are a lot of guitar chords that he plays that are very dissonant, and dissonance is like, I mean, it can be used in non-musical terms, but for music nerds and people who studied music, it's basically like things that don't sound harmonious together. Like when you play a beautiful major chord, it sounds like it belongs together, but dissonant chords don't necessarily sound. And dude, they play a lot of those. Right. Stone Temple Pilots does. And dude, Ride the Cliche starts with that dissonant, that and it's kind of almost ugly sounding, but I like it, but it's yeah.
Oh man, dude, it was so good to really revisit this album. It just, there's so many. I think many of the songs on this album, when you have time with an album and you're like, oh man, like you were saying about Trippin' on Old Paper Hearts, like, oh man, you kind of go back to like, oh, that track. Like sometimes you just get stuck on the track and you're like, oh, I like that one. So, well then, dude, we move on to, I guess you could say, the second instrumental song on the album, which is Daisy, which dude, awesome, right?
Dude. Again, written by Robert DeLeo, the bass player, and he plays guitar on it. Right. Now, I wonder if he plays both the strumming and the slide, or... Yeah,
I don't know. I do not know that. If anybody else knows that, please let us know below.
Please let us know.
But, it's interesting, Grimm. I believe... I mean, I don't want to, not talk about the slide, because I love the slide on this song. Is this the first time we hear an acoustic guitar on this album? Is it the only time?
I think it may well be. I can't mention that.
I can't. Any of the other songs, I don't believe I've heard an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, this album doesn't have a creep. It doesn't have a pretty penny.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It has Daisy.
It has Daisy.
And I like this song. And the way the chord structure is very much like in what would people... it's written in what people would say is like kind of a jazz standard sort of a format.
Okay.
It sounds almost like an old jazz standard, the way the chords interplay. But I think a great song.
Yeah. All right. Move to the final track, Grimm. Seven
Caged
Tigers. Dude.
I don't know what it means.
I don't know either.
Really like the song. It honestly, out of all their songs, this one for some reason is always... sounds reminiscent of Led Zeppelin.
Well, and I have, the ending especially.
Oh yeah.
Like, cause the ending, like, dude, if you listen to the last minute of this song where it just kind of sort of fades out and it's distant and everything, dude, that's the last 40 seconds of Over the Hills and Far Away.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to the last minute of this song and the last minute of that song, you're going to be like, wow. So, and they were huge Led Zeppelin fans, right? And so that's just, I think that's just a fun, almost like little little tribute to them.
It's funny that you say that, because in the interview I watched with the three of them, like not in modern times, dude, Kretz is wearing a Led Zeppelin t-shirt. It says like Bonzo on it, and it has the symbols.
Sweet.
Yeah. So cool. I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. This one does have some interesting lyrics. Dude, clean the politician and wash him with Everpure. I like that. Yeah. Wasting time chasing those cows that fly. Yeah. And pass the umbilical cord down for flyby.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole mix of things. And, I love the feel of this song. I really just, it feels great.
And the way he sings it, I think he sings it very cleanly and differently. Yep. It doesn't sound as scratchy as a lot of the others.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
so
Grimm.
with that said, I think it's time to get scratching.
And I think you did Tame Impala last, so I think I'm on the
Yeah,
tee.
you're on the tee.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, this is the point in the show where we choose what track we would scratch off the album. Not that we want to, because we like them all, but if one got scratched, what could you live without?
Yeah.
Maybe there's one that you skip. Maybe there's one you've heard a million times, and you're like, hey, I'm good. So, Grimm.
It's a game. Despite what DMX says, it is a game.
I think you're going to, I don't know if I'll get a WTF, whatever's.
ITS for this?
Yeah, but I think you might disagree or be surprised. I'm actually going to scratch, I believe, Lady Picture Show.
Ooh, you're not going to get a WTF ITS, but we are going to go to overtime.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Dude, yeah.
Dang, man.
Yeah,
Lady
dude.
Picture Show for you as well. All right. Tell me what your reasoning is.
Yeah. I have no, I mean, it's a fine song, but it just, to me, it's just the most in the middle one, right? Because the other ones are either like really kind of more rock, or they really go off on a different tangent. Like it, and so I know. And Lady Picture Show it's safe.
You're right.
It's safe. And it's not a bad song. It's just safe. So that was my reasoning. So what about you?
Yeah, I'm with you there. Well, I think it's also tough coming right. I mean, dude, it's like, people always talk about, well, how do you follow that up? It's like, dude, following up Big Bang Baby, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a tough follow up. It's a tough follow up. And to be honest, it's just one that it doesn't do a whole lot for me. There's nothing that overly stands out. And it's one that I skipped. I would just skip it a lot when I was, listening to my CDs. I really would. I think part of me just wants to get to, and here's the thing. I love And So I Know too. And I certainly wouldn't scratch that, but there's been times that I've skipped that one too.
Because you just want to get to
Trippin' on a hole
that bad. And I get
that. Exactly. Like, come on. Can't disagree with me there. We're gonna split hairs? No. I that's that on that.
So now that we're in overtime, I mean, you got to pick a second.
Shoot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that part. All right. I'm gonna go with Adhesive.
Okay.
Because
I can understand.
Because it's another chill song, but I feel like I sort of get my fill with And So I Know.
I got you. Okay.
But man, I'll tell you what though, after really listening to it again this time, I have a tough time. I like the horns, and especially after you saying, we don't want to, it kind of wants to be unsuspecting. It's like, I didn't know that was a Stone Temple Pilots song. So I do appreciate that, but I could see myself skipping that one. What about you?
Okay. I would probably do. That's a tough one, because I feel like there's times where I could, I do ride the Cliche.
Yeah, that was going to be it was sort of a toss up between Adhesive and the Cliche.
And again, not that I don't like it. It's just, it's kind of this weird in the middle thing to me. It's not like totally one of the harder rock songs, and it's not really, it's just kind of, it's in this weird kind of space. And that's fine. I like the song, but I mean, if we're playing the game, which we do.
Yeah. All right. So, we got to finish the game, which is, what is your favorite song? It's probably between Big Bang Baby and Trippin', right? But I know you like Tumble in the Rough too. So
I do. Well, I guess if you scratch first, I'll do this first. Trippin' on a Hole. No question.
Yeah.
Well,
it's tough.
It is very tough, but that would have to be it.
I think that's probably. It's so close between Trippin' on a Hole and Big Bang Baby for me.
I know. It depends on what day you listen to it, or even
pretty
Pops
much.
Love Suicide, for God's sakes. I mean,
pretty much.
Shit.
Yeah. So, well, people below, let us know what you'd scratch. Let us know your favorite track. Also, let us know what you think. Is this your favorite STP album? We're talking about Scott Weiland STP. I don't want to talk about anything. We don't.
Thank you. The rest doesn't even count. No offense. They should have just went back to talk show.
Yeah, it's like when Pink Floyd. Anything after
not Gilmore Floyd. Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
So
with all that, I mean, while you're doing that, maybe go ahead and give us a quick like and subscribe.
Subscribe, and comment below.
Already commenting below. And check out our Monday episode where we just discussed the 25th anniversary Super Deluxe Edition that should be coming out. Well, actually, by the time this airs, I believe it comes out the 23rd of July. So,
I can't wait. Dude, I want to hear the full length press play. So bad. So,
all right, Grimm. Well, they can press play. We're going to press stop. Time to go.
Scratch a Track is produced by the dude Grimm. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021.